Hello, everyone. My name is Haley Dame, and I'm a workshop scholar at CLIS, as well as a tutor at CLIS. And the workshop plan for today is group dynamics. This workshop will cover some important points that you should take into account in order to work effectively within a group. So some goals for today are to learn the importance of working in a group, to take a look at the most common mistakes on why group projects fail, and to lastly learn how to be successful and effective while working in a group. So why is it important to work in a group? We all have heard before the sayings such as 2 heads are better than 1 or the more the merrier. These sayings imply that working in groups will have a more productive, creative, and motivated outcome than an individual working on their own. Group projects can also help students develop skills that are increasingly important within the classroom as well as in the professional world. Also, positive experiences with group projects have been shown to contribute to student learning, retention, and overall college success.
I knew we had a meeting today. I just kind of started binge watching that show about medieval cops, which is dope.
Guys, thank you so much for coming. Snacks? Red Bull?
You can do it. Good brainstorming.
Tell me you are loving this puffy paint, right? I added it this morning and it's the best. And I really think it makes our visuals pop.
I collated and copied the notes from our last meeting as well as emailed them to everyone in bullet points, so you guys really don't have an excuse not to be up to speed.
I mean, yes, totally yes. I did see that, I believe. I didn't open it?
Has anyone heard from Randy? You did an RSVP, so do we know?
If I can get some help outlining these borders in marker, that would be awesome. Let's do this!
Hey, study group, sorry I am late. Oh, I missed it. Ooh, snacks. Score.
So why do group projects fail? Some of the main reasons are poor planning, the me versus others mentality, poor communication, and a lack of effort. And some of these barriers to effective communication, which is maybe the most important piece of a group project, are different people's attitudes, stereotypes, language barriers, and assumptions. And we will talk later about why it's important to not make assumptions about people who are in your group. So let's first talk about how you can communicate effectively. First of all, you want to respect your group members' time and opinions. So remember that not everyone has the same schedule as you. Some people may work, some people may have a heavier course load, and some people may not have those things. So you need to be reasonable to what people within your group have this time, and that maybe they can't reply back to you at all hours of the night. As well as opinions, you don't want to be disrespectful of your team members' opinions. You want to hear out all their opinions, even if you disagree with them. You want to know where they're coming from, so you want to listen to those opinions. You also want to, first of all, exchange contact information with everyone in your group. You can do this through just your phones. You can create a group message. You can create just contact through email as well, or different contacting ways as like work on a Google Drive as well. And this is important because even if you can't meet up to talk about the group project or have a meeting that week in person, you can get in contact with each other and know where everybody's at within the project and know what's done and what's not done, which is very important. As well, you want to be just an active listener and participant in your group. So here at Suffolk University, we are very lucky to be in such a hub and such a multicultural university, having people from all different countries attend our university, as well as people from all different walks of life. And that may cause some difficulties within a group project, but it's important to know that you need to respect people's cultures. You need to be culturally sensitive as well as culturally aware that people in your group may not have the same education, might not have taken the same classes of you because where they've been from, or they just might identify or have different opinions because of what culture that they grew up with. And that means that treating everyone fairly does not mean treating everyone the same. You need to have open and good communication with people within your group, and you need to know their needs and their abilities and people's strengths and weaknesses, so that when you're assigning things, even though it might not be equal, it may be fair for people within your group. Here's some big question is, sometimes the projects are going downhill and you see yourself being maybe the only one in the group that's doing something, and that's when you come across the question of, should I take control? And just some different things about group projects is that nobody should take the entire responsibility of the project. That's why it's called a group project, not an individual project, is because you're doing it within a group. From the beginning, you need to assign roles and know who's going to be the leader and the facilitators. And everyone should contribute equally. That's why it's a group project. But don't be afraid to contact your professor. They're there to help you, and if nobody is responding to you, or you feel like you're pulling way more than what you should be, don't be afraid to contact your professor and tell them how you're feeling within this group project. So this is important now to define the roles of a group project. It's easy to assign the roles right when the project is assigned, so that everyone knows their task and what they should be doing. The leader is going to be the person that's going to keep everybody else on track, and they're going to put everything together at the end. And then there's the supporting roles. All the supporting roles will be doing different parts of the work. They'll be taking a different section of the work, and they're going to be doing their part, and they're going to be then giving it to the leader to then compile. And all members should have an equal workload as well. Though when you're working in a group and assigning things might have conflict, or different conflict will most likely arise while you're in a group. And it's important that you don't make any assumptions about the people within your group. Because someone's not getting back to you, or because they're not putting their work in, you don't know why. And you don't want to make an assumption as to why they're not doing it. Don't assume that they're lazy because they haven't done their part yet. You don't know what's going on in their life, and so you don't want to make an assumption there. Another way is just know what you're responsible for. That means that conflict might not arise if you're doing your part. You don't want to create a conflict where there shouldn't be one. So first of all, you need to know what your piece is within the group project. You want to deal with this conflict immediately, especially if it's a semester-long project. You don't want to have the conflict be dragged out throughout the whole semester if it started at the beginning. And once again, if you are feeling like you're unable to resolve this conflict, don't be afraid to reach out to your professor. When you are doing a presentation, which a lot of projects are presentations at the end, the most important thing you can do is know your audience. Know if you're going to be talking to your class, or if you're going to be talking to people within your major, or people outside of your major, or people outside of the university altogether. This way, when you're creating your presentation, you know at what level to make it, and you know at what level of understanding and background the people who you're presenting to will be coming into the presentation with. You'll know what you need to define and what you don't need to define for the people, depending on their knowledge that they will be having. You also want to structure it into different sections so everybody can have a piece that they're talking about, and you want to have these planned out and practiced and rehearsed together as a group beforehand, so that when somebody stops talking, there's not this long awkward pause before the next person's like, oh, it's my turn now. You want to know the word they're ending on, take a deep breath, and then start your portion. As well as you want to be confident and energetic when you're speaking, to just bring it in and get people engaged in your topic of conversation and your topic of presentation. So once again, I'd like to thank you guys for listening.
We've got 5 expert tips for group success. Have you ever shown up for a group meeting and no one knew what to do or how to get started? Expert tip number 1. Everyone needs to be on the same page. Make sure that you set your goals together. Think about what you need to do right away and what needs to happen by the end of your project. Have you ever felt like you were talking, but no one was hearing you? Expert tip number 2. Figure out how you're going to talk to each other and how often. Do you want to use social media or your UG emails? Or do you want to text each other? Also, don't forget to schedule times to meet face to face. Sometimes that's the best way to get stuff done. Sometimes it's hard to get along. Don't be a bossy Bobby or a negative Nancy. Expert tip number 3. Group work means compromise. Sometimes you'll need to step up and be a leader, and other times you'll need to step back and listen. If you notice things feel off and maybe people aren't connecting, try to talk about it. It's always better to try to solve these problems early. Not everyone can be the group captain. The captain is important, but you need all hands on deck if you don't want to sink your ship. Expert tip number 4. Everyone is good at something. Make sure you figure out who is going to do what. Do you need a captain, facilitator, editor, narrator, presenter, creative talent? Who will do what task, and when will they finish it by? Think your group was a dud or a total success? Expert tip number 5. Thinking about what went well or didn't can actually help make your next group experience go better. You can take some time to figure out what you could do differently by yourself, but you could learn even more if you did this as a group. Take some time to chat with your group about how you can be successful. Being a group can be tough. Take advantage of these expert tips and you'll be on your way to an amazing group work experience.
You can come by the 9th floor of 73 Tremont Street, where we also offer free one-on-one tutoring, writing tutoring, and study groups, as well as drop-in help with math, stats, and accounting. To make an appointment, you can visit the front desk on the 9th floor or simply call our office or make an appointment online. Thank you and have a nice day.